Well, I have hearing loss and I normally wear hearing aids. I've been wearing them for close to 10 years. And increasingly, they're working less and less well for me. And I'm having a much harder time hearing than I have over the past few years. And it's, I think, because in one of my ears, my hearing is sort of significantly worse than it was 10 years ago. And for some reason, even though I have a pair of hearing aids that is supposed to really help when I'm in noisy situations, it's not really great. Um, and I have to wear those hearing aids on that setting all the time because I just can't hear anything. My kids are adults. I often can't understand what they're saying to me. If I get in a noisy situation, I really can't hear what's going on. If I'm driving in my car with my boyfriend, I can't understand what he's saying most of the time because his voice is very low pitched. And my hearing loss seems to be in the lower ranges, which is somewhat unusual. And the road noise and his voice are so close together, I just can't figure out what's going on. And then the worst thing is that I now have 4 grandchildren, and when they're little, you know, 3, 4 years old, 2 years old, when they're talking, they have really sweet, delicate little voices. And I can't understand what they're saying to me most of the time. And so it's heartbreaking not to understand what your grandchildren are saying to you and to have to keep saying, what, what? Oh, I didn't hear you. Can you say that again? And they don't understand really what's going on. They just want to communicate. So a few weeks ago, I was reading an article in the New Yorker about hearing loss. And I think my feeling from the article was that the gentleman who wrote it didn't really have hearing loss, but, he was middle-aged and getting to the point where, he was less able to understand things, but not at the point where he needed hearing aids. So what I got from this was that, he talked to a lot of, or not a lot of, but a number of the hearing aid manufacturers about, how they're progressing on serving people with hearing loss. And hearing loss has always been one of those things where, they try and hide the hearing aids and make it so you can't tell somebody's wearing hearing aids. And I think maybe by the hearing aid manufacturers doing that, they sort of are making it feel like it's something we have to be embarrassed about. Well, I don't want to be embarrassed about my hearing loss. There's not a lot I can do about it. Mine is genetic for the most part. And my mother's side of the family, most of my aunts and uncles and my mother and my grandfather had very severe hearing loss as they aged. So, like I said, I don't like feeling embarrassed about having hearing loss. And I'm now at the point where I'm upset. I spent a lot of money on my latest pair of hearing aids, which is supposed to help me in noisy situations, and I can't hear anything. I can't go to a restaurant and have a conversation. I can't understand my grandchildren. I can't understand anybody with a low-pitched voice most of the time. So I feel like I'm not being really served by the hearing aid manufacturers. So I'm reading this article in the New Yorker, and near the end of the article, the writer had gotten in touch with Bose, who makes, from what I understand, very nice headphones. And Bose has come out with something called Hearphones. So they're not a hearing aid, they're an assisted listening device. The writer of the article tried wearing them and said, he really thought they were great because he wore them in noisy situation and they really helped him. And he's not a guy, that wears hearing aids. And so I guess Bose is not really publicizing the Hearphones much. This was the first I'd heard about them. And I got lucky. Well, before that, after I read the article, I sent a copy of it to my 3 children and some family members and my boyfriend, and I said, in this article I said, please read this because it's kind of making me crazy not being able to understand anybody, and I hope you guys will be a little more helpful with me and not get upset when I can't hear you. You know, adjust your voices. And I said that the worst part of the hearing loss was not understanding my grandchildren. And then, so my boyfriend read the article and he tracked down the earphones, and they're only being sold at 3 stores in the United States. I'm located in the Los Angeles area, that's where I live, and the closest store that was selling them on a limited basis is the store down in the San Diego area. And so he contacted the store and he was told that they had just sold the last one they had in stock, but they expected to get more in stock. And he put his name on a list of people to be contacted when more came in. Well, a few days after that, he talked to me. He said, will you be willing to go down there and try them and see what they're like? And I said, in a minute, I would go down there. And so we got a call a few days later, and they said, we've got a number in stock. Your name is on one of them. You need to get down here and try them on. So that day, despite working like 7 days a week for the past couple of years and not having any spare time, I just said, we're going to San Diego tonight. We'll be there when the store opens, and I want to try them on. So we got in the car, we went down there. We were there when the store opened, and we had a great experience at the Bose store. There's a young man who works there who's had training on using them and, you know, teaching people how to use them. I'm wearing them right now. They look like just a standard, you know, headphone that people wear when they want to be able to answer their phone, or they want to, you know, hands-free or whatever, so they don't have to put a phone up to their ear or listening to music or something like that. And I guess these earphones are very similar in appearance to what Bose sells for headphones. And the young man was great. I gotta say that, you know, a lot of people in my age group, which is, you know, we're the, you know, the baby boomer generation, has hearing loss to one extent or another. And so, and in a lot of my generation is not technologically really hip. And I don't consider myself to be uber hip or anything like that to technology, but I do pretty well. I have to use a computer all day long every day and other technical equipment. But he was very patient, and he really took me through all the steps on wearing it, how to make adjustments to it. And we did it in a very, very noisy environment. They take you into like say you would be at somebody's home theater with the soundtrack turned up really loud with all these speakers coming at you from different directions. So it was a very noisy environment. He put them on me and showed me how to adjust them. And I could hear every single word that he said. And I could hear every single word that my boyfriend said, who was also in the room. And neither the young man or my boyfriend could really hear me when I was talking because it was so noisy. So it's kind of amazing. This is the first time I've heard really well for a long time. There's 3 settings on them. One is called World, and that basically lets you hear things 360 degrees around you, and you can turn it up so that if you want to hear more of what's going on in the background, you know, it's got a volume control. The second setting is 180, so it's front facing. And the third setting is focused, pretty tight beam. And this is the one that really works great when you're in a very, very noisy setting like a restaurant and you're trying to talk to people at your table. And you just point your head to them. Where, like, if somebody's right next to you, you just turn your head and you can hear, I can hear everything they're saying. And I just think that's amazing. So I think the big difference technically on the earphones from Bose's regular headphones is that they have directional microphones right here. So it looks like pretty much like you're wearing standard headphones, but they have these microphones right here. And that's the big deal, is the microphones. And they pick up the noise so well. I had no idea how noisy it is at my house, just from ambient noise. That, it kind of amazed me when and I've been wearing them all day long every day. And so I'm really hearing stuff. I'm on construction sites frequently, and it's always really, really noisy. Last 2 times in the past couple of weeks since I got these things, I'm the only person that can hear what's going on in the conversation we're trying to have. Because I've got these, and I'm so excited. I tell everybody about them, and a lot of people, I have clients who are younger than me. I mean, they get their phones out and start taking notes. I am on job, construction sites frequently, and one of the really great features of the earphone are that they have the same kind of noise canceling software in them that Bose has on their other headphones, and so that's just it's a pretty wonderful thing to be able to have a device that's canceling really loud noise and allowing you to be able to focus on the noise that you do want to hear, people's voices and things like that. Another thing that I found was really interesting is wearing my hearing aids. I frequently, will be in the car. If I'm wearing my hearing aids, I can't hear a siren until it's almost on top of me, from an ambulance or a fire truck or something like that. With these things, I can hear the siren way off, and I know it's coming. So I can pull over to the side of the road and get out of the way. So I think that's an amazing thing. I do worry a little bit in the state of California if you get pulled over and you're wearing something like this in both ears, you can get ticketed because they believe that you will not be able to hear sirens in emergency vehicles. So I wish that, we didn't have that law. Although it probably is a good idea. Because I think people would listen to their music all the time. Another great thing is that this is Bluetooth. It pairs with my phone, so I can listen to my music on my phone when I feel like it. I can take phone calls. The sound quality is great. It's really, really nice as far as listening to music. I haven't heard music this well through a pair of headphones for a really long time, and it's great. I listen to books on tape a lot. When I play it through my car stereo, when I play my book on tape through my car stereo, it's so hard to hear it with my hearing aids on. When I play it through my earphones, I hear everything. And I just think that's wonderful. And also, making phone calls is so easy now. I can actually hear what people are saying to me when I talk to them on the phone. And that was something that hasn't happened for a long time. I was really having a great deal of difficulty with phone calls. And everybody always says, why do you not want to talk to me on the phone? Well, the reason why is because I usually can't understand what you're saying. And, even with headphones, just regular headphones. But the thing about hearing aids is that, you have to take the hearing aids out to wear headphones. With this, with the earphone, I don't have to take them out. They're in my ears all the time. And they last, I would say, around 10 hours, the battery does, and then it has to be recharged. You can get it back up to a full charge pretty quick, within an hour. So what I do is I'll put them on first thing in the morning, and I'll wear them all day until maybe say 4 o'clock or maybe 3 o'clock, and then I charge them for a while, and then I put them back in. And they were easy to get used to. Very much like regular headphones, the little earpiece is very simple. And I said the directional microphones stick out, so they're there, and you can see them. It has the control that turns it on is on the neck piece. It's like a bumpy button that you push, and it tells you immediately how much battery charge you have. And if you keep pushing it, it'll tell you that it's ready to pair for another device. But it automatically pairs with my iPhone when I turn it on. It's just like, boom, it's on. As far as changing volume, there's two sets of buttons. One is on the flat part of this earpiece here on the right side, and that can change the program. You know, how much, whether I'm hearing 360 degrees of noise around me, or if I'm hearing 180, you know, just the front, or if I'm doing the narrow focus. And then there's two little, there's another rocker switch on the side here, which controls the volume. And there's also ways to set it up so that I can change, you know, am I hearing more bass or less bass, or more treble or less treble? So I can fool around with that setting too. I haven't customized it a lot because truthfully, I've been working so much, I haven't had time to actually sit there and fool with it with the user's manual. But just even my rudimentary controls of it, I'm getting great sound out of it. Went to a party yesterday that was noisy and outdoors, and I could hear everybody. And a lot of other people I noticed, even the young people, were having a hard time hearing each other. So that kind of makes me feel good, like, that's wonderful. And I told my kids after I got it, I told one of my sons, I said, so, dude, you can't trash talk me behind my back anymore and think that I'm not going to hear you, because I am going to hear you. And he said, oh, Mom, okay, I got to remember that. So that's it. I love this thing. So I have to say that probably the hugest benefit of the Hearphones is that it allows me to change the frequencies to turn down the background noise and the ambient noise, and be able to turn up the sounds that I want to focus on. And to be able to do that, you know, in a graduated way, both ways. You know, if you're in an extremely noisy situation and you don't want to hear all the stuff all the ambient noise that's happening around you, but you do want to hear somebody that you want to talk to, that's amazing to be able to adjust it that way. And the hearing aids just don't cut it. They don't do that. I didn't have, you know, the lowest quality hearing aids. I didn't have the top of the line either. Mine were probably they are like a mid-level hearing aid. But still, you know, with their Bluetooth that they sell with it, which is terrible quality, it was $4,000. Hearphones, $500. So, I mean, the economy of that is pretty amazing, and the quality is so much better than the hearing aids. So, I think the hearing aid companies need to wake up and pay attention, because this is mind-blowing. I mean, for somebody who hasn't really been able to hear very well at all for the past 10 years, and things are deteriorating, now I'm hearing well. And I'll still go to my audiologist for my checkups and all that and get my hearing tested. But this is just like, I don't know if I want to ever spend the money on a pair of hearing aids again if Bose just keeps working on this. And I'm really hoping that, you know, as they technologically develop this product a little bit, you know, more and more, that through having the app on my phone, I'll be able to get software updates which will update the Hearphones. I'm not sure that that is something that they're able to do right now, but that would just be great. And I'm kind of one of those people that's into apps. And you know, it takes me a little bit longer to figure out the buttons and things like that. I'm getting there. but having the app on my phone is wonderful. They told me what at the Bose store that they have the app for iPhone, and then they have it for, I think it's Android, and I have an iPhone, and so that's my hardware that I'm working with. And I think they're probably going to start selling more of them. They said that there's a possibility that one of their stores in the Bay Area would be selling them. But I really think that people should check it out because this is a viable alternative. My mom has really very severe hearing loss, and she can't understand people about 90% of the time. She's 87. It's not going to get any better. And her hearing aids are not helping her. And next time I see her, she lives in Northern California, I'm going to make her wear mine. And I'm going to show her how amazing it is. Because I think she deserves to hear stuff. And I think everybody deserves to hear stuff. And I think we should stop being ashamed of not being able to hear. And I think people should realize that their hearing is delicate, and we have a lot of noisy stuff in our world, and it's hurting our ears, and we need to pay attention, and we need to address it. I mean, my generation is a huge amount of people are having hearing loss, and I don't know, it doesn't seem like anybody's, except for Bose, is looking at this, and the hearing aid companies are, but they're so niche, and they're so going down their own road, which doesn't seem to benefit any of us. So I think probably the best features of the earphones is that, one, Bose has really great noise canceling in their headphones, and in combination with these directional microphones, what happens is that it cancels out all the background noise and the repetitive stuff and the things that you don't want to hear. And it brings the things that you do want to hear, the sounds and the voices and things that you want to focus on, are coming into your ears. And they're not having to go through this big mass of jumbled noise. And somehow that all works. And I think when your hearing is good, if you don't have hearing loss, I think there's something in your brain that probably does that process for you. But you get to a certain point and you can't do that anymore. And that's just amazing. And I think that, Bose being able to put those two things together has got the hearing aids beat. Hands down. Because the hearing aids, they're not able to do that. And they're too small. The hearing aids are too tiny. And these are not tiny. I mean, these take a lot of juice. My hearing aid, the battery will last for a week or a little bit more. These, they have to be recharged after about 10 hours. But they're so much more powerful because of that. And you know what? I don't care about anybody assuming anything about me for wearing these. I could be a sports chick. I could be, just listening to my headset in my head, or, whatever people use these for. It's usually music. Sometimes they have these that they take phone calls on, things like that. But it doesn't matter to me. What really matters is hearing what I want to hear, being able to get that sound inside of my head. So I just think that's amazing, and I'm really impressed and very thankful for my earphones. Well, I've already worn these at parties, a couple of parties, and I guess if I want to have more bling, because they are kind of really a necklace, and dangly earrings don't really go with them, maybe Bose needs to make some with a little removable bling, or something like that. Just kidding.